Today on DNVR Buffs Live, the Buffs have a former 5-star in the mix at wide receiver. And also the fallout from this weekend, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, the rest of the Buffs who got drafted, and much more. Let's go!
Squad! Coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota store. It's DNVR Buffs Live. Oh my gosh, what a weekend.
What a weekend indeed. Feels like it lasted a whole week.
It feels like it lasted a month.
Yeah. Craziness, man. Stoked for all the guys who got drafted. Stoked for all the guys who are getting a camp opportunity.
Hell yeah.
Pretty shocked by the fact that Block Bully has yet to receive that.
That's what I just said to Jake before the show. It doesn't really make sense to me. I don't get that. I really have no explanation for that.
There's a lot that didn't make sense to me this weekend.
I would have, first of all, if I was an NFL GM, I would have drafted him.
No.
Second of all, if I didn't draft him, he would have been one of my first calls when the draft ended. I have no idea what's going on there.
I'm glad the whole draft process is over, though. Obviously, the fallout of it is still going to carry on and whatnot, and the narratives and whatnot. But I'm glad. I'm glad that, like I said, this the brunt of it is over with, and we can kind of move past amicably. We got some Buffs in the NFL. We got some Buffs got NFL opportunities. I'm excited to see where this goes from here.
I need a little break from the toxicity. I woke up on Sunday morning because, we had been going through it with these people online from Thursday night, Friday night, all the way through Saturday. Sunday morning, I woke up and I just went and muted all of my own tweets. I was like, I don't want to see any other comments.
Yes.
I was straight on the Harrison win. Send mute conversation immediately.
For sure.
Yeah.
Once it gets to a certain point, you just have to mute it. Because and you can just tell, when you get 2 replies in a row, oh, this is hit the wrong side of the algorithm.
And it's just the same. You see 10 in a row of the same thing. I'm like, I don't need to keep seeing this.
Exactly.
Well, Carlton wants to know, I'm sure there's many people that want to know your reaction to Shedeur falling to the 5th round, the entire discourse, just the craziness that was Thursday through Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I always obviously talked a lot about this on whatever day it was,
Thursday.
Our last show, Friday.
Yes.
We talked about kind of the fallout and what was going on. So I'm not going to get into the slide as much as I am Shedeur going to the Browns, which all things considered, especially considering the fact that he fell all the way to the 5th round, is very high on my list of places where he has a real chance to start. And so that was my first reaction when he went there, because by the time he had slid that far, I just started thinking okay, well, now someone's going to pick him up that already has a quarterback just as insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was a little bit bummed about that, and also excited, if it ended up being the Rams or someone like that. But I was worried he could just end up on a place where the quarterback position was stable.
Yeah.
I was listening to PHLY on their draft show on Saturday morning, and they were all theorizing that they were going to take Shedeur. And
Rappaport reported that they were going to draft him, the Eagles were, and then Cleveland jumped ahead of Philly, traded up to make sure they got him.
So I was kind of worried about that. As great as it would have been for him to go to a winning organization like
100%.
that, his opportunity for playing time would have been slim to none.
100%.
Now he goes to a place in Cleveland where it's a 5-way, probably four. Battle for a starting position. And obviously I am, we are as high on Shedeur as anyone, but I believe he should be the favorite. And in fact, even on the sports book, he's the second favorite behind Kenny Pickett.
Right.
Which
Behind
come
Pickett?
on. Yeah.
Really?
No, yes.
Yes. So, exactly. So that part of me was really, I was excited about that because I didn't want to have to wait 2 to 3 years for Shedeur Sanders' receipt street.
Hell yeah.
Secondly, my big takeaway from this was what a feather in the cap, in my opinion, of Shedeur Sanders, the way that he handled this entire thing. He handled from Thursday to Saturday with grace and humility and class all the way through. And there's a lot of times where I'm like, man, Shedeur's being a lot more mature than I would be about this.
Said that so many times.
And I said that a lot this weekend. The prank phone call. That to me is just a classic case of everyone else wants heads to roll. Shedeur accepts a call from the kid. I don't know what the call consisted of, but even that was a mature decision. He said when he was asked about it with the Browns, oh yeah, I'm not all that worried about it. It is what it is. He just handled every single situation so professionally, and it goes against all of the narratives that were put out there about him. And then finally, when he got selected by the Browns, I just loved the way that he and everyone at the Sanders residence reacted.
Yes.
It would have been really easy to do the exasperated, finally whole thing. And no, it was just a celebration.
Turn.
Because regardless of everything that happened from Thursday to Saturday,
Yeah.
Shedeur's dreams of being drafted into the NFL were realized in that moment. And all of the bullshit that led up to it didn't allow it to dim that moment. And I thought that was really cool. And so in the end, it was one hell of a weird ride to get there. But I'm still very confident that Shedeur will have the last laugh.
No doubt, man. Like I kind of said on Saturday, man, Shedeur obviously shouldn't have been a 5th-round pick. The slide really is inexcusable, even if, as some of the details, the reporting kind of comes up, the lead up to it. Regardless, though, I'm just at peace with the whole situation and how it ended up because, again, he is in a spot, like you said, RK, like I've been saying for at least a month plus, a really good spot, I believe, for his personal development in becoming a really good NFL quarterback. And if I needed another reason to believe why Shedeur is going to be great in the NFL, and I didn't need another reason, I got it this weekend. Like you just talked about, his reaction to what was probably an embarrassing situation.
Which could have been,
right. Or just a publicly, kind of humiliating. People have used that word. And I'm sure Shedeur probably doesn't feel that way, but I know a lot of people wanted to see Shedeur and the Sanders family sulking and sad. And when he was drafted, by the Browns, when he did his local, press conference to local reporters, they probably wanted to hear him say, "Oh, everybody who didn't take me, you're going to regret it. 31 teams." Yeah. But no, he relished the opportunity, was grateful for his opportunity. He talked about the fact that there's a lot of talented players in this draft. He deflected, praise and credit to people he doesn't even personally know in the NFL who were taken ahead of him. And again, if I needed another reason to believe in Shedeur Sanders as an NFL quarterback in the face of a franchise, which I didn't, I got it, again, with his reaction to everything that unfolded. And in terms of the Browns, like I've been saying for a month, like I said, it's a really great spot. His quarterback coach is somebody that his father loves and adores in Bill Musgrave, who him and Coach Prime go way, way back. He has a head coach and a play caller who has thrived with quarterbacks with similar skill sets as Shedeur Sanders. And obviously there has to be work to done. And first and foremost, he has to go win the job. But that's another thing that gives me optimism about this landing spot. You got to beat out a 40-year-old. You got to beat out a Kenny Pickett, who is no longer starting quarterback in the NFL. And you got to beat out somebody in Dylan Gabriel, who I know in Shedeur's mind, he knows he's better than him.
We all know that.
We all know that. And like I said to Jake Saturday, too, I feel like every time Shedeur walks into that quarterback room in Cleveland and sees Dylan Gabriel sitting in there, it's just gonna fire him up. It's gonna fire him up every single day. Y'all drafted this dude 2 rounds before I did. Watch this. And it's gonna be legendary. Period.
I'm just thankful it's over. Thankful it's all in Shedeur's hands now. It's just about football, finally. I mean, my God, I hope so.
Yeah, I was going to say, it never will be, but...
and it's with the Cleveland Browns, too. So, yeah, we'll find out. I mean, he's obviously got an opportunity in this room to make an impact and beat out some guys, turn some heads right away. All we can do is hope it at this point now.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Like I said on Saturday, bro, football starts again soon. You know what I'm saying? And all this noise will be different because they're going to have to talk about what happens on the practice field and in meetings and in training camp and in mini camp, rookie mini camp. And that's where Shedeur is going to thrive because that's where he always has, on the football field playing the quarterback position. And like I said, he's already got teammates on his side. Denzel Ward was tweeting at him. He ain't tweeted at Dylan Gabriel. David Njoku posted about him. He ain't posted about Dylan Gabriel.
The players know what happened.
This is what I mean, though. This is already going to start some shit. It's not, again, it's verily Shedeur's fault.
No, it's not.
But
the players know what happened, though, too. They have eyes. They watched this last college football season.
I mean, knowing what I know of Jerry Jeudy, I know he's going to be a Shedeur Sanders fan. But it's all just going to come down to going out there and balling. And that's what he does best.
Literally. And kind of a side note, aside from the Dylan Gabriel pick, which is inexcusable, I'm not going to sit here and defend that. That was crazy. But the Browns low-key cooked this draft. I saw this from a Browns fan. The Browns in this draft took the Big Ten, the SEC, the MAC, and the Big 12 Offensive Players of the Year.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's
that's pretty insane. And again, Daniel Oyefisi, who covers the Browns for ESPN, he tweeted this over the weekend. If you told Browns fans before the draft that they were going to end up with a 7-player class that included Shedeur, Mason Graham, multiple playmakers like Quinshad Judkins and Harold Fanning Jr., you would be like, that's a pretty good draft.
Yep.
And, according to Next Gen Stats, Cleveland had the most productive draft class in this draft, just based on, kind of their Next Gen Stats kind of average score. Number 1 in the draft. So they added some real talent around Shedeur and the rest of that quarterback room. So I'm excited.
You just made me realize that I listened to 3 hours of Cleveland sports talk radio between yesterday and today. I found a podcast, like a radio show in podcast form. And I started listening to it yesterday after work, and then I finished it this morning before I got here. I don't think the names Quinshad Judkins or Harold Fannin were mentioned once.
That whole 3-hour podcast.
It was 3 hours of 90% Shedeur, and then a little bit of Dylan Gabriel, a little bit of Joe Flacco, a little bit of Kenny Pickett. They talked about the Cavaliers, who might be the favorites to win the championship right now, or at least win the East, for 7 minutes. I counted it because I skipped past it. 7 minutes.
That's insane.
It was however many hours they're actually on the air. I think it was 2 hours and 30 minutes of actual talk. I'm telling you, 2 hours and 5 was about Shedeur.
I believe.
And I forgot about the other draft picks they got because it was never mentioned.
And they argue. I didn't even mention they got arguably, in some people's board, probably the top linebacker in the draft, Carson Schwetzinger from UCLA. He's going to be a player. So they
was not mentioned.
I know. I'm sure he wasn't, but they got something cooking, and especially with Shedeur. Once he goes out there and does what he's supposed to do, win that job, win over that locker room, it's really going to be up from there. And I'm excited to see it.
I'm going to say a sentence that should never be uttered by a healthy person. I can't wait for the first Browns preseason game.
Bro, they probably gonna give them the what's that first game, the Hall of Fame game?
Bro, how many primetime slots are they gonna have this year?
Exactly.
I think the Hall of Fame game has already been determined.
Okay.
They're gonna have 6 primetime games.
The faster they announce Shedeur as the starter, the more primetime games they'll get.
For real.
Well, the schedule gets announced in 2 weeks,
Yeah, so that's not
I don't
gonna
think
work.
that's gonna happen.
But think about the difference of the viewability. If you find out it's Jags Browns,
Must see
and it's
TV.
all right, we're seeing Travis Hunter against Kenny Pickett or seeing Travis Hunter against Shedeur Sanders?
Hey, you know what's? I'm going to complain for a little bit here. Shedeur related, just quickly, because this is something I've noticed for a long time now. And again, with the draft here this weekend, where his name was circulating so much on social media, I don't think there is any. Well, I'm going to phrase it this way. I think Shedeur has to be the most popular American athlete who consistently gets his name spelled wrong.
Oh my god.
100%.
Why? And I'm thinking now at this point, people do it on purpose.
The apology, bro.
Exactly, bro. And that was kind of the latest thing for me. I'm like, bro, first you tag bro's Instagram, what has his
Right
name
there.
spelled rightly in the post.
Because
and
that
he
was
spelled
all
his
AI
name wrong.
generated, bro. Did you see that?
AI can't even get it
They
right.
ran it through
I
an
saw
AI
it.
filter, and it was it came back 100% AI generated.
AI can't even get it right. It's not a hard name, but like people will spell Carson Schlesinger correctly 100 times out of 100 times, but spell Shedeur wrong in
Yes.
multiple ways with an A, with a U, and then an E. Like people, I think, do this on purpose, and I've just noticed it, and I just wanted to say that, and I hate that. It's really not that hard to spell that man's name.
It took me 2 days,
yeah,
maybe
Literally.
2
For sure.
hours to learn how to spell it right.
I know. I mean, but you still see Shiloh with the H on the end and all this
Yes.
stuff. It's
All right, while we're on the subject, we brought up the, or should we break?
We have to take a
Okay,
break.
then I have a take about the prank phone call.
all right. Let's take our first break. Shout out to the homies over at Elevations Credit Union. Go to a credit union, not a bank, man. Go to Elevations Credit Union. They're going to take care of you and your money. They're going to treat you like a person, not another number in their system. Signing up at Elevations Credit Union also comes with a handful of benefits. You get up to 3% cash back on CU tickets and merch with select CU merchants, 2% cash back on restaurants, gas, streaming, and phone plans, 1% cash back on daily spending and every swipe with your Elevations Credit Union card. Elevations will donate 2 cents per swipe to the CU student athletes through NIL. You also get free popcorn at home, football, and basketball games. So hit them up. Go Bus with the Go Bus Visa Signature Rewards Card, the only official credit card of CU Athletics, only at Elevations Credit Union. Visit buffscreditcard.com to apply and see full card benefits and details.
Also, shout out to our friends over at UCL. The DNVR Buffs show is brought to you by UCL, the official healthcare partner of the Colorado Buffaloes. And fellas, I learned something today. My wedding day will land on day 100 of me of my move streak.
That's,
Hell yeah, dude.
Come on,
Congrats.
that's nothing but God right there.
Yes, exactly. Very lined up.
That's awesome.
91 today. Living like there is a tomorrow. I got to say, once you get your ass off the couch and actually start getting into a routine of living a healthier lifestyle, it is so rewarding. And you just feel so much better on a day-to-day basis. It's very worth it. So to learn more about living like there is a tomorrow, go over to uchealth.org for more info. UC Health, live extraordinary.
Lindy makes a great point that I didn't realize, that the Browns play the Titans this year. And again, assuming both Cam and Shedeur win the starting job, that is going to be appointment television as well. I can't wait for that matchup.
Speaking of retired numbers, which weren't actually speaking of, but it's relevant recently. Did you see the Warren Moon?
Yeah, I did. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Tennessee's got to stop doing this.
claiming
The
Houston's-
Oilers, yes.
I don't know how to feel about this.
How you feel about it?
Yeah, how do you
Dion,
feel
as
about
a
it?
Houston native.
I don't know. I thought that the Titans were the Oilers. That's why they moved.
That's what I was
They
going
are.
to just say.
So that's why I'm like, I don't know.
So why do they have to get it up if that's part
Because
of their
Houston has a
history?
football team now. Like,
Who gets to claim it though? The
Yeah.
franchise or the city?
I mean, it's all dependent. Like the Baltimore Ravens don't claim the Cleveland Browns before. Like,
But like,
Colts, you mean?
I went to the Avs game on Saturday night and I wore a Quebec Nordiques jersey. It's the same situation.
I don't know. Warren Moon never played in Tennessee.
That's true.
It's fair.
That was a cool moment, though.
I thought that was cool too. Okay. Here's my take that I haven't seen, and maybe I'm being cynical here, but as it relates to the prank phone call,
Yeah.
the excuses for how the kid obtained the number, it just isn't doing it for me.
Or the excuses.
They said that he came home and dad's iPad was just like left open and he just found it off.
That was the Falcons
saw.
statement.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what I saw. So they say
Bullshit.
happened.
Straight up. And someone said that these team issued iPads lock after like so much time.
saw
Like
that too.
they don't just stay
Like
open.
quickly. Like a lot quickly.
It's because it's confidential information.
I don't buy that for 1 second, and it's the one thing where like I honestly don't know what the proper response is to something like this. All I know is I'm not letting Jeff Ulbrich, is that his name?
Yeah.
Off the hook. Just like, oh, his kid just did something silly. Like,
I don't get why
this was deeper than that, in my opinion.
Why is he not being held accountable? Like, he didn't have to release his statement. The team did it for him. His son released his statement.
And
Why are you not doing it?
And in that statement, Atlanta immediately goes, he's not going to be disciplined. It's over.
How is he just getting scot-free off of this? Like, you are the reason for the breach in information.
Yeah.
Miss Jeff Ulbrich.
No, the
Yeah.
NFL is gross, man. I'm telling you, this weekend was something.
And the dude who actually was on the phone call with Shedeur, we have no idea who that guy is either. No apology, no statement, nothing.
Nope.
Yeah, how did it get tied back if that wasn't his kid?
Well, his kid was the other kid in the video.
Oh, okay, on the left?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sitting on the couch. So we have no idea who was actually on the phone with Shedeur, who actually made the phone call. And people were just, sweeping that under the rug for some reason.
Yeah, I think that that was a very planned and agreed upon thing. And lastly, as someone who is a fan of a good prank, the execution was terrible.
The worst prank phone call I think I've ever heard.
Yeah.
For
Like,
sure.
if you're going to go to that great of lengths, at least execute.
And somebody tried to compare it to Caleb Williams got a prank call around when Ben Johnson was being hired. And it was
yeah.
a prank call, somebody acting like Ben
Yep.
Johnson. And people tried to compare. That is not the same thing at all.
Not even close.
Shedeur is going through a crazy historical draft slide, and you play with him like that. That's not the same thing at all as Caleb thinking he got a new head coach, which turned out to be his new head coach. But those
And-
are not the same things at all.
You just, like, again, I enjoy pranks.
So do I.
But you have to. There has to be something wrong with you to want to prank someone in a moment like that.
Yeah, you're a sick individual.
Like, again, I don't know exactly what the punishment should be. I don't know fully what my reaction to it is, but I just know that that's a very like inhuman thing to want to do. Is like, oh, this person's down, we should kick them. And again, credit to Shedeur, who, as always, handled it with class, took it in stride, moved on immediately, and went back to focusing on what he was focusing on. He's, like I said, a lot of times he's more mature than I am.
Like I said, we've said that a lot too.
Jimmy and LeJohntay also got drafted. Any thoughts on other undrafted free agent fits, anything like that? For you?
I like that a lot of these guys are going to the same places. I like that they're going to have a support system around them. I'm excited to see what Cam can do. I'm excited to see I'm excited for all these guys. I'm trying to think if there's one specific. I talked about it on the draft show when he was picked, but LeJohntay in Baltimore is sick to me.
So nasty.
I got him in the later rounds of my
Tough.
dynasty rookie draft.
Nice.
Which, by the way, my hole is quarterback. I got both Cam and Shedeur.
You're set, brother.
One of those guys is going to save me.
I got
Not
Shedeur
both.
in a third round dynasty draft this weekend too. So
Yeah, so I'm really excited for these guys, and I think last year we saw it in such a small sample size because it was really just Zay who got a real chance, if I'm remembering correctly. Was there anyone else who signed as a UDFA, not just a camp invite?
as a true UDFA, Derek McClendon was on the Panthers for a bit.
Oh, yep. So it was, either
Leonard
way, smaller
Payne, I
sample
think,
size than what we have this time, and we saw everyone praising Zay for how ready he was, for the lights aren't too bright. He's so prepared for this. And I think this year when it happens time and time again, people are going to start to realize, oh, Coach Prime in Colorado are really doing a great job of preparing these guys for the league. The same way that we talk about IMG Academy preparing the high school players for college.
I can only hope the NFL thinks that. More landing spots. So Levante Bentley got a rookie minicamp invite from the Cincinnati Bengals. Herman
Did you hear
Smith.
the wrinkle with that too?
No.
Apparently, if the Bengals choose not to sign him, he will also be invited to Broncos rookie minicamp.
All right, good for him. Hell yeah. 2 players invited to Broncos rookie minicamp. Shane Cokes and Justin Mayers, they both accepted. And then Herman Smith got a rookie minicamp invite from the Las Vegas Raiders. I think we mentioned BJ Green going to Jacksonville at the end of Saturday's show.
We did.
Still waiting on Chidozie. Mate got I can't remember who signed him.
Calgary Rough Riders.
Is that CFL?
I don't know if that's the right team name. No, Calgary Stampeders.
It might be, bro. You might have it right, bro.
I think it's Calgary Stampeders. But the other one, I think he went to the Rough Riders.
Our guy has signed as a second-round pick
Saskatchewan
with
Rough
the
Riders?
Calgary Stampeders.
Okay, Stampeders. So he's staying with the Stampede.
I think that's it, right? Did I miss anyone else?
I'm kind of surprised that he didn't get an NFL look.
Especially after that blazing 40 he ran at the pro day.
Bro, he was cruising.
Well, it was flying.
The most effortless 4.6 I've ever seen.
For real.
If he kicked it into high gear, I definitely could have seen a low 4 or 5.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's talk about the team. We got a commitment today, a big one.
Literally.
Hykeem Williams, former Florida State wide receiver, has committed to Colorado. He visited for the spring game. What was that? 2 weekends ago? Feels like 8 years ago. In his career, he's played in 17 games, made 8 starts last year. In total, though, only 21 receptions for 267 yards and 2 touchdowns, but 5-star talent listed at 6 foot. FSU had him listed at 6'2", 215.
Bro, you know who those numbers sound like they belong to? Read those numbers again. 21 catches, 267 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
What production does that sound like? To me, it sounds like Omarion Miller.
It kind of does.
I feel like if you pull up Omarion's stats, it's very similar. Around 20 catches, around 250 yards. I think 2 touchdowns exactly. And people have been talking, and the reason I bring up Omarion is because obviously his production, aside from the injury he suffered last year, is really a result of him being a part of a stacked wide receiver room, a lack of opportunity. And it's similar in terms of the lack of opportunity part for Hykeem Williams, his lack of production over the last 2 seasons. Obviously, in 2023, he was a true freshman, like you mentioned, a former 5-star. He was a true freshman in a really good offense. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the quarterback, Jordan Travis, they were undefeated that year. They had Keon Coleman, who was a first-round draft pick at receiver. They had another really good receiver whose name, really tall dude,
Johnny
Wilson. They had a really good receiving core in 2023. So Hykeem still cracked the lineup. Mm-hmm. Last year, obviously, the lack of production, their quarterback was DJU. I think we could probably leave it at that in terms of the lack of production. That was the reason for it. So this is, like I said, a former 5-star, 6'2", 6'3", 215 pounds. Dude can fly. He hit 20 miles per hour, taking a screen to the crib in 2023 against Syracuse. So a really talented guy. And again, somebody that you can put in that X receiver, like a Sincere Brown, like an Omarion Miller. It's a really good ad.
Yeah, just continuing to add talent. This is a former 5-star player. You can never have too much in the wide receiver room. I already had people telling me, oh no, someone's going to hop in the portal now. Portal's closed. So you add and you try and do everything you can to make sure that you give yourself the best chance to put the best players on the field when you get that opportunity. Everyone's going to get an opportunity to prove that that's them. Now, this won't surprise anyone, but now that Hykeem Williams is a Buff, I have realized a new perspective on the controversial tweet that he sent a while ago. And I think this is a part of my own personal growth. I have done a better job of putting myself in other people's shoes. If I was a Florida State fan when that tweet happened, I would have been so fired up.
Yeah, of course.
Definitely.
And that's what he was trying to do, is fire up
Sure.
the fans.
From a 5-star too, they're like, yes.
Especially after
Now-
Travis flipped on them.
Right.
Probably learned a lesson for anyone. Don't compare yourself to Travis Hunter.
Don't do it.
Not a good idea, but he's just trying to build up some hype. And I laugh about it now. It's like, I was thinking about this, like, if I was a Clippers fan, I'd be saying that ball wasn't off Aaron Gordon's fingertips.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? So now I'm
No
like,
doubt.
I started to see that when I come across a situation, is like, I could see why they're pissed about that, or I could see why he did that. So
Very mature of you, bro.
Thanks.
That's some personal growth right there. We love to see it, man.
now it does come with the caveat of, now that he's a Buff, it's easier for me to look for that perspective. But
true.
I'm sure that he realized probably shouldn't have done that. But I'm sorry, I kind of understand why he did.
In terms of wild things I've seen in college football over the last 2 years, that's
Yeah.
like a 1.5 on the scale.
Very tame. Agreed.
Let's take our next break. We'll still dig into Hykeem Williams a little bit here. RK, do you want to tell the people about your Toyota?
I would love to tell the people about my Toyota. Let's see, what did I do with my Toyota this week? Took it to the golf course on Sunday. My Toyota now has 3 different golf bags in it.
Sheesh.
Hauling those easily. Still got room for more storage, because then I hit the grocery store after that and still had room. So plenty of cargo space. Unbelievable ride. Just an all-around great vehicle. And they're also doing the Drive to the Playoffs giveaway right now, where you can get hooked up with a private suite experience for you and your friends, a flyaway adventure to see a Nuggets playoff game on the road, or a chance to drive away in an all-new epic 2025 4Runner. Click the link in our description to get in on the Drive to the Playoffs giveaway. Try to get hooked up with one of those things. Drive to the Playoffs with your Front Range Toyota stores. AutoNation Toyota, Rathbone, Centennial, Corbin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain State Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood.
Shout out to the squad over at Game Time, man. Not too long ago, probably about 3-4 weeks ago, maybe a week or two before the NBA regular season ended. I was at the Lakers and Nuggets game at Ball Arena, man, and I was just sitting there at a certain point, like, Nikola Jokic is on this court, Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, like at least 4 future Hall of Famers are on the court at one time, and I was in the building. And that was special, man. And it was really all due to Game Time, man, because I was there because of Game Time, man. Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier, even for hard-to-get playoff seats. As you all know, the NBA playoffs are in full swing. The Denver Nuggets are back in action tonight, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Against the LA Clippers. So make sure you slide to the DNVR bar if you're not using Game Time to get tickets
I'll be here.
to the game. RK will be here. But yeah, Game Time is the ticket buying app. You can get last minute deals. You get to save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DNVR for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Sheesh. Looking on Game Time right now, you can get in the building tonight for $77.
Ooh.
That's
So-
all in.
Ooh.
The other thing with Hykeem Williams, I mean, this is clear. Colorado clearly has a type at wide receiver.
Yeah,
Just
they
look at
wanted
the
to get
last
bigger.
2
Yeah.
commitments. Yep.
for sure.
I mean, you didn't really lose, I guess, too much size with this draft class. I guess Will Shepherd, of course, but I mean, Omarion was still there. Terrell's a taller guy too, but they wanted to get even bigger, and I think that's to make it easier on these quarterbacks. Of course, I mean, we're going to this quarterback competition. What's easier than having so many guys on the outside that your quarterback can just go, I'm going to pick this guy on this play, maybe this guy next play, but I can just throw it up to almost any of them. It's huge.
Weapons, bro. Weapons. And again, that's what your quarterback wants. And I think it tells what people kind of think about Colorado's quarterback room, that they're able to get these type of guys. The Sincere Brown, who really could have went a few different places in the Power Four, and a Hykeem Williams, who was visiting. He had a couple pretty high level visits. Beside, I think it was a Pitt and Syracuse potentially.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So obviously he was highly sought after as well. And I think part of the reason they decided on Colorado is because they like the quarterback situation here. Whether it's Caden or a 5-star and Julian Lewis, you're going to get a chance to show off your skills and show why you belong at the NFL level from the receiver spot. So I really like how this room is being put together. And again, the 2 adds recently, I mean, that doesn't, in my mind, take away any reps opportunities from a Draylon Miller.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Or an Isaiah Harge or something like that. So I think this receiving room, people want to see trenches, and so do I. I think they're coming, but I think these are 2 necessary adds at the receiver spot, especially what transpired last year against Kansas State.
We also had another commitment. This one came through yesterday.
Yeah.
Domata Peko Jr. Committed to Colorado. He also visited for the spring game. He's got an interesting situation going on here. So he started his career in 2023 at Hawaii, entered the portal or left Hawaii, ends up at College of the Canyons, which I'm assuming is a JUCO.
Yeah.
So I assume he gets that year back then with the recent Diego Pavia ruling. So he's going to have 3 years to play now, maybe even 4. I don't think he played too much at Hawaii.
I think that's true.
So he's at 6'4", listed at 6'4", and I think 220 pounds. That 1 year at College of the Canyons, I don't know where that is, but he had 10 tackles, 2 sacks, and played on the edge. So we'll see.
Let's place our bets on College of the Canyons. I'm going to say it is in California.
Definitely. Got to be California.
Think so.
I'll look it up.
So he spent the 2024 season at College of the Canyons?
I'm pretty sure, yep.
I don't know why I thought like somebody mentioned like a Ventura College. I saw a Ventura College associated with
his page here of College of the Canyons has games played from October 17th through November 24th, and I'm assuming
Santa
that's all
Clarita, California.
Yeah.
We wait on his brother though. Joseph Peko is a 3-star recruit in this 2026 recruiting class, and he's kind of got he's his dad's son.
Yeah.
He's a big boy, so that would be a huge one. Sticking with recruiting, though, we got 2, at least that we know of, 2 big visits over the weekend. This first one is pretty massive, though, and could kind of change the outlook, I guess, on Colorado's defense, especially after recent departures. But former BYU linebacker Harrison Taggart was in Colorado over the weekend. He is one of the top available linebackers in the portal. Last year for the Cougars, he had 69 total tackles, 3 TFLs, 1 sack, 1 pick, 3 passes defensed, 1 forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. Again, one of the best linebackers available in the portal. Started his career at Oregon, did not play or only played in 3 games. So in 23 and 24, I guess if he used that red shirt, he's got 2 more years of eligibility remaining. So
that's what we've been seeing. 2 years left. I mean, dog. #need. I think we were a bit surprised to even see him in Boulder for a visit this weekend.
Yeah, we had been talking about him as like, oh, it'd be great. And then all of a sudden he's just posting pics.
So that's clearly the staff is in on him and maybe close. I think he was also at Cal and NC State. So it seems like that's the top 3 that he's kind of looking at right now. Cal, NC State, and Colorado. This would...
No-brainer.
Exactly, bro. It really shouldn't be much of a discussion, and I think he has Nakai Hill-Green type impact at the second level. Obviously, he was second on BYU last year in tackles, and that was a really good defense. And just hearing some reporting from people on the BYU beat, he was kind of the heart and soul of that defense at the second level. Getting guys in the right, spot, kind of bringing the edge, the identity to that defense that again was really, really good last year, especially as the season went on. And obviously, Buff fans got an up-close and personal look at that in the Alamo Bowl. But Taggart, #need.
It's time to finish the deal on some of these guys.
No, for real.
And I would put him very high on my list of people we need to do that with.
No doubt about it.
Definitely. A lot of those players who did visit for the spring game obviously didn't end up committing, and they have gone pretty much elsewhere. I think damn near everyone that visited for the spring game. Other than the guys that, of course, committed to Colorado, they've already found their next home. So On to the next wave. John Slaughter is a part of that wave, the former Tennessee defensive back. He was a 2022 three-star recruit. Didn't really play too much over the last 2 years, but from what I saw, I think people were expecting some things out of him this year at Tennessee. Played in 23 games over the last 2 seasons, only 6 tackles, so primarily special teams, but sounds like he was primed for a bigger role this year. I mean, maybe this could be a, ceiling Colton Hood type player where you come in and they really start to pick it up and everything, but we'll see. We'll find out.
Bro, imagine like Revis Island. Mm-hmm. Imagine if you got put in the slaughterhouse. That
Slaughter
would go
is
crazy.
an elite football
That
name.
would go so crazy.
Especially defense.
I think if you did a draft of football names, Slaughter goes 1-1.
1-1. That's
Dang.
crazy.
I think it does.
Yeah, bro. For a last name, it's got to be up there. I mean, that's elite. And yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say that, but that'd be a nice ad. I can see he's played primarily special teams at Tennessee.
Yes.
Right. Which isn't a knock. Obviously you would like the proven production, but again, if you're able to earn your way on the field, even in the special teams role in the SEC at a school like Tennessee, you obviously have something to you. And again, Colorado's recruiting staff has kind of followed this blueprint of a guy who has maybe played sparingly but is looking for more opportunities. And that safety room, again, we're assuming Toffee Byard and Carter Stoudemire are probably going to be the starting safeties. But after that, the addition of Terrence Love, he'll be in the mix as well from Auburn. But there's some depth to be added to, and Slaughter would definitely help in that regard.
Colorado needs special teams guys too.
Yeah.
Period. It's true.
Yeah.
And speaking of Colton Hood, by the way, did you guys already talk about that?
Yeah, on Saturday. Do you want to?
Oh, I
we
just wanted to make sure that we addressed it, just because we brought up Colton, but I wasn't sure if you guys already talked. There's not much more to add, probably, other than just I'm bummed on this one. Like, no spin.
Yeah.
I'm bummed. Colton was a player, obviously, that we were all really excited about. Had some really special flashes last year. Did fantastic against Teterow and McMillan in coverage. Was electric with the ball in his hands when we saw that. Not a guy that we wanted to lose. So it's a bummer to see, obviously, all 3 of the Hood brothers go.
Yep, but the portal's closed. Guys are coming in on visits. It's just college football. We put our head down and we move forward, man.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of that, we have got a massive recruiting weekend building up for this weekend. Let's start with this one. We've talked a lot about this guy. Gavin Mueller is going to be back in Boulder on Friday, the 2026 3-star tight end. I think he has a 4-star on Rivals or another service, but he's coming for his official visit. 823rd overall player, 40th ranked tight end, 6'5", 255 out of Wheaton, Illinois. He's pumped. He already tweeted about, was this yesterday? Yeah, 2 days ago. He already tweeted about his visit, so he's excited to get out here. And then earlier today, he nails his list down to a Final Four: Wisconsin, Notre Dame, LSU, and Colorado. So this weekend is obviously going to play a big role in where he decides he will be attending school. He does have an official visit. He's coming off an official visit to Wisconsin, and he goes to LSU the weekend after this. So everything still seems to be pretty up in the air.
I think he has a really high upside. I think I saw that he's only played like 1 year of football.
Interesting.
So he is still pretty raw, but the talent is obviously there. Like, dude is just an athlete who happens to play tight end, who happens to be able to run routes and catch the ball. So, you heard his list right there. Who he's considering. This is a really high priority guy for the teams who are still targeting him. So, it'd be a great ad at a position of I wouldn't say need, but you still want to continue to add a lot of talent at tight end spot if you can.
Well, especially at these positions, and like, I think a lot of people have, maybe not a lot of people, some people in the fan base have some frustration with what's happened in the tight end room, the linebacker room, and the running back room over the last few years, right? Mm-hmm. But they have a trend. If you go back the last 2 seasons, they've been recruiting these rooms. Yeah. So while you're upset maybe that they're not getting these guys in the transfer portal, if they keep on recruiting this way, as soon as next season, or as late as the year after that, you're going to have just natural a pipeline of talent that has come in the last few recruiting classes, and those rooms should start to get a lot stronger here in the near future. Although we're still expecting them to recruit out of the portal at those positions too. So
it's always a balance, and the balance has started to turn a little bit more towards high school, which was always the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Still got to start landing some guys in the portal, though.
Definitely, of course. I mean, Coach Prime laid out the whole plan there. I would be surprised if they deviate from that. 4-star quarterback Brody McCorder. We've talked about him.
Brody.
He visited Colorado. It wasn't for the spring game. I think it was earlier in April, though, if that's correct.
On the topic of drafting football names, though, that's got to be a first rounder.
Brody?
First name, right?
Yeah,
It's gotta
that's
be a
up
first
there.
rounder.
That's up there. He moved up his commitment date. It was supposed to be May 15th. He will be committing. Shoot, when is this? Thursday, May 1st. He's narrowed his list down to Indiana, Colorado, Mississippi State. Although I will say I wouldn't get too excited. Steve Wiltfong has predicted him to go to Mississippi State, and I'd be surprised if he commits to Colorado.
Mississippi State's really starting to piss me off.
I'm with you, bro.
What the hell they got
I'm
going
with you,
on
bro.
down there?
That's what I texted you guys over the weekend.
facts.
What else do we got? How about this one, Scotty?
The worst part is I've always been on their side in that rivalry.
Yeah.
The Egg Bowl?
Yeah.
I wonder how Ashton feels right now.
Yeah, come on, Ash. Tell your people to chill out.
Yeah, tell him to chill, bro. Scotty, Cliff Hill tweeted yesterday, looking forward to being back in Boulder this weekend and catching up with London Merritt and Alex McPherson. We'll have 2 more IMG guys with me, at Brett Cullejay and at Jake the Snake Cruel.
My dogs. My dog. Y'all already know. Jay Cruel is my guy, bro. If I'm putting this stamp on
5-star
somebody,
edge.
5-star edge. I mean, bro he is really like that, like explosive from an edge. I mean, quick and fast, not just quick, but quick and fast, explosive, powerful. I mean, I've seen too many clips of him just bullying tackles, both sides of the ball, left side, left tackles, right tackles. I mean, again, obviously the IMG pipeline is continuing to build. And, you know, with Cliff Hill, obviously in their corner, both him and Brett Cullejay, I like Colorado's chances to land at least one of them. 2 would be crazy. If you get both of those kids, especially on the offensive line at edge.
I like their chances, bro.
So do I. Shout out Cliff Hill for the tagging that tweet as well, my guy. We'll get up real soon.
I guess last thing I have is you're going to see a lot of offers this week. The coaches are out recruiting across the country. So you're going to see a bunch of these offers starting to pop up for, of course, the 26 class, but 27 and beyond. If you've been following, you've probably already noticed that Colorado has been sending a lot of offers. 26 through the 28 recruiting class over the last 2 years. So now it's time for pay dirt. It's time for a lot of those relationships, a lot of those conversations over the last few years to kind of come home. And I think this is going to be a big recruiting class for the Buffs.
Let's go.
I agree. Tweeted this earlier.
Go ahead, yeah.
Colorado's first 5 spring portal additions: Xavier Hill, Sincere Brown, Tion Parks, Terrence Love, Hykeem Williams today. Thoughts on the first 5 and where we go next?
Solid.
Not bad.
Yeah. I think out of all those, who are you most excited about?
Xavier Hill.
Read it again.
Xavier Hill, Sincere Brown, Tion Parks, Terrence Love, Hykeem Williams.
I'm going Sincere Brown.
Shoot, I mean, I like them all, but I want to see which one of those 2 guys in the secondary kind of pops out and really makes an impact right away because we need them. Kind of need both, honestly.
I was going to say, yeah. You kind of, I think at this point, you're counting on both of those guys to probably be starters, if not rotational pieces. I mean, Tion Parks, at this point, he might be the 3rd cornerback, maybe
Sure.
the 4th cornerback
Absolutely.
if you're putting RJ at 3.
No, his commitment has gotten even more massive over the last weekend
Yeah.
with what's unfolded.
Yeah. He's going to be very impactful. He's going to have to be.
I mean, I'm excited about all of them, though. Xavier Hill, I think, is going to make an impact on the offensive line. I do not think they are done on the offensive line by any means.
No.
I think they're probably done at wide receiver.
I think that's safe to say.
I think the attention now turns to linebacker, which we already saw this weekend. And you got to get a running back, man. You got to get one.
Yeah. Javian Thomas going to UCLA hurts. But yeah, you got to get a running back. I think you got to get another corner for sure too. Maybe even another one after that, because again, Coach Prime said 2 weeks ago now he wanted to add 3. Already got 1. So,
I mean, well, and people have kind of speculated that. Do you think Coach Prime knew some of these transfers were coming though?
yes,
And that he factored that into that list?
100%.
So
Yeah.
we'll see.
I mean, Neely says it all the time, but like Coach Prime is never surprised by these things.
Yep.
Like he knows it's coming. We've seen him call it out in a team meeting. Like, we know y'all leaving. Why are you lying to us?
Right.
And so, I do think that's why he factored that in.
Well, I want to throw out one name who I don't know if we've talked about on the show. We might have briefly. Talking about running backs, DeKalin Taylor, who visited Colorado last week. I believe.
Yeah. The Incarnate Word guy, right?
Yeah, transfer running back from Incarnate Word, all conference running back, all conference kick and punt returner as well. He's at 2,300 all-purpose yards in his career. This is a really explosive guy, like lightning in a bottle. Like, again, I think I tweeted last week, he has Incarnate Word's longest touchdown run in school history, 97 yards. I mean, a straight burner, track speed as well. So,
And was returning kicks, right?
yeah, punts and kicks. So that seems like obviously the interest is mutual. He was already on a visit to Kalen Taylor was, so I could see him kind of being at least the first kind of running back commit today out of the spring transfer portal. And he would be a guy, again, who can do multiple things, not just a running back, not just a returner, but really, explosive at both things. So keep an eye on DeKalin Taylor.
Definitely. Yes, patience with the transfer portal usually ends up paying off. So, again, it is April 29th.
I kind of want to do a thing and be like, at this point last year, how many they had.
Bro, I did that a lot last year.
Yeah.
Because people, especially around the Jordan Seaton time frame, people were
Freaking out.
up in arms. Yeah. And it's like, we didn't even have Dylan committed yet. Can we chill?
Yeah, it's true.
What else? Talk to the people?
Yeah, let's go to the Toyota chat.
Chatsky.
Got quite a few super chats today. What's up, Kev? The Eagles were about to get shit. They had 5 rounds to get in. People say that shit to save face. Miss me with the BS.
Hey, man.
You're not
The
wrong,
Eagles
Kev.
didn't have any need at quarterback, though. Like, this is, I posted Sean Payton
Right.
talking about how he was, like, shocked that Shedeur was still available, and everyone's like, well, why didn't he take him? Why didn't he take him? It's like, because the Broncos have a quarterback.
For sure.
We've seen teams that don't have quarterback needs take quarterbacks in the draft after the first round many, many, many times.
Shit, didn't Philly literally
Let
do
me
it
just
recently?
start by saying, first, this was just after the third. This is after the third round that he said this. And
I'm not criticizing Sean Payton.
No, I'm just saying I would be hard pressed to find a team that had a rookie quarterback that hit and then drafted a quarterback in the first 3 rounds of the next year.
Sure.
Yeah.
But-
Anybody who was thinking the Broncos, the Shedeur was ever going to be a thing, it was just kind of delusional.
But for a team like Philly, though, where you've got a Super Bowl winning quarterback on a massive contract already, there's just not even going to be a conversation there. Like, why wouldn't you?
Well, and I think they would have. I mean, they ended up with Kyle McCord.
Sure.
I think they probably would have taken Shedeur if he
Ooh,
was
the
there.
Eagles took McCord?
Yep.
Oh, wow. I like that for them.
East Coast Kev again. Let's not undermine Flacco. He's a Super Bowl champ that can still throw. The other quarterbacks won't lay down to Shedeur. But winning the job is a strong possibility, and Watson is still injured. I think Watson is injured.
I'm not going to lie.
I talked to some people in Cleveland yesterday who said Deshaun Watson's not playing this year.
Yeah.
I've been saying that on this show for months.
I thought that.
No, I hear you. I'm
Yeah.
just, and I ain't gonna lie. If you just go, I thought for sure the beginning part of that chat that East Coast Kev was trolling. Because why the hell would we take Joe Flacco serious, bro? We're not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that.
He's actually 40 years old.
He's literally 40 years old, and we
mean-
watched him play football last year. 2023, he was pretty good.
Yeah.
But last year, he looked like a 40-year-old.
If I handicapped it, he'd be my favorite to be the starter at this point with Shedeur right behind him.
I think so too, just because of the age. But I don't.
Well, it's
Yeah,
not.
that's
It's not
how
the
we do
age.
it.
It's the familiarity, though. With the
Yeah, he was
system.
already in the system, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and I watched Joe Flacco in camp with the Broncos, and like in that setting, he looked great.
Sure. Yeah, I believe it. You
But
can still toss the pill.
I still think it's not going to be Kenny Pickett. Again, if all things are fair and equal, and that was the number one thing that I want to say, like if they're going to make this a true quarterback competition and give everyone a chance,
Yeah.
Shedeur will win it.
And you got to think too, Kenny was there first. Like, I'm sure they wouldn't have made the Kenny move if they knew they were going to make the moves that they ended up making, signing Flacco, drafting 2 quarterbacks. They probably just wouldn't have traded for Kenny Pickett. But at the time, they were probably unsure if they're going to get a quarterback or 2 that they like, or if they were even in on Flacco. So I think in retrospect, they just wouldn't even have done the Pickett thing.
CJ Swizy says, laughing my ass off, I found the pod/radio thing too. Let's just say Cleveland is a miserable sports town. They should be so happy they have Shedeur now.
Bro.
Facts.
I think I told you guys this the last time that I went on radio in Cleveland. And I was just like, these people are hurt.
Yeah, man, they're scarred.
Like, they are so scarred. It is crazy. And, like, the part that annoys me is everyone talks about Johnny Manziel. And it's just like there are no parallels between Johnny Manziel and Shedeur Sanders.
There really aren't.
Like, but they're so scarred by the things of the past that they're always looking around the corner, like peeking around the corner to be like, "Uh-oh, what's going to happen to us next?" And it is a crazy thing to listen to.
It is.
It'll make you feel like you have it sweet in your sports life.
I mean, if there's a jersey out there that exists with 20 plus quarterbacks that didn't pan out for your franchise, like, in a row, you got every right to kind of be a bit apprehensive about some good things potentially happening to you and your team.
Facts.
Crash Out or Cash Out says NFL teams usually only keep 3 quarterbacks. Shedeur will get limited reps to prove himself. The Browns will have to lose money to keep Shedeur. Do the math. I'm honestly scared about that too.
It's a cool name, Crash Out or Cash Out. I'm not worried about it, bro, because, I mean, I just think, like I said, football has to be played. Practices have to be played, and you know what I'm saying? And
the NFL told you what they thought of him this weekend, though. I don't think it just changes, like, going into camp.
Well, it changes when you see football.
Exactly. And I think when you're saying what the NFL told you what they thought about, they told you what they thought about him as a person. I don't think what happened this weekend had a lot to do with what the NFL deems him as a football player. I think it had a lot to do with what they think about him as a person. And that's what I talked about this weekend. I think it was personal. Like, a lot of teams were turned off by Shedeur, the person, not the football player.
And I think once he gets in there and starts working and starts building relationships, they'll realize that was all a lot of bullshit. Exactly. Additionally, he's already got the lead in the locker room.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's going to go a long way in terms of keeping him on the football team if the players, especially on the offensive side of the ball with him, love him.
And I think his quarterback coach likes him. Actually, I know that. I do think the head coach likes him too.
I do too.
This is a franchise that brought in Deshaun Watson off of all that stuff, bro. I don't know how much
But that's a desperation move that they made to try and fix a decades-long problem.
I think that also proves that they don't give a fuck about the off-field shit if they think you can play. I think that actually proves that.
Those two things aren't even...
They're not.
There is no off-field shit with Shedeur.
I know, but like Stefanski was handed Deshaun Watson. He didn't have a choice. He had to play him, basically. Yeah. Stefanski's being given a 5th-round quarterback for all he cares at this point. I don't think he's going to go, oh, well, this guy's going to have to get the majority of the reps now because he's just more talented.
No, but I do think you're going to see... So we still have rookie minicamp. Mm-hmm. You're going to see Shedeur go out there, and he's going to look great.
Yep.
And then we're going to see training camp, and eventually the cream is going to rise to the top.
I hope so. I went back and listened to all the press conferences, like you said. I was really turned off by what Barry and Stefanski had to say about Shedeur. It did not give me any kind of endorsement in their thoughts of him at all.
I get that.
I was kind of turned off by them just as a whole.
I mean, 100%. I don't think they want Shedeur there. I really don't think they do.
I'm going aside from Shedeur. I didn't hear conviction about anything that they did.
Yeah, man.
But again,
we'll see.
So let's just live in this world, because I don't buy into this conspiracy, but a lot of people do. Let's live in the world where the owner walked into the room and said, "Pick Shedeur, or else." What do you think? He's just going to be like, "Yeah, go ahead and cut him."
It's true, bro. That's a great point, bro. Yeah. Because if he wants Shedeur in that building, he's going to want Shedeur in that building.
You know who has the 3rd most jersey sales of anyone in the NFL right now?
It's facts.
That was out of rookies.
Or out of rookies, yes.
That's a good point.
I mean, they said that Jimmy lets them do their jobs.
Right, and that's why I don't buy the owner thing. But if that is the case, that could actually work in Shedeur's favor.
Exactly. That's my point. Like, what?
It just doesn't have anything to do with football, man. Like, it's just...
We know that, though.
Yeah. None of any of this ever had anything to do with football.
We're headed to overtime. If you're watching on your television, head on over to DNVR.com. We're going to wrap up the show over there. Next one from Jose Roth says, hate it for CU, but you can't tell me that Prime having to helplessly sit and watch this doesn't entice him to coach in the NFL when his contract ends.
I think the opposite is true.
I agree.
If he's anything like Jake, he was disgusted about what he saw from the NFL this weekend.
He
probably doesn't want anything to do with him moving
forward. I would give to know what Coach Prime said when is Mr. Barry there? Let me speak to him. Because...
Wait, was that a thing that...
You didn't see this? After Shedeur got picked, he's on the phone.
Coach Prime is? Or Shedeur?
And yes, they're talking, and Shedeur's like getting instructions from the Browns.
Yeah.
And Coach Prime comes up and he goes, is Mr. Barry there? I want to speak to him. And Shedeur asks him, is Mr. Barry there? The lady on the phone goes, yes, he is. And she goes, no, she goes, would you like to speak to him? And then Coach Prime just steps in, grabs the phone, and goes, yeah, I'd love to speak to him.
And then it cuts.
I didn't see that.
And then, then Shedeur goes upstairs, and the camera follows Shedeur upstairs.
That could be anything, though, bro.
I really think it was probably just like,
thank you for drafting my son.
Yeah.
It could be. It could be.
Congratulations.
I'm not going to speculate on what was said. I'm just saying I'd love to know what was actually said in that moment.
So do I.
I think a lot of people would.
That could be your first question.
Time we see Prime.
I'm not asking Coach about that.
I also think that the next time, I think eventually we'll learn, depending on what happens with Shedeur. Again, I believe he's going to end up being the starter. Week 1, I believe he's going to be the starter.
He has a chance.
If then Andrew Barry and Kevin Stefanski get fired, we'll know whose call it was to get Shedeur.
Facts. Like, that's why I'm at with it. Like, everything will just work itself out.
Yes.
Time will tell.
Yep.
Next from...
One last thing on this. There was a debate on the Cleveland show I was listening to about, like, who's easier to get to the practice squad? Shedeur or Dylan Gabriel. And again, my whole thought on this is it will work itself out. Shedeur will show that he's better than him when they're standing right next to each other. And then it's obviously going to be easier to get Dylan Gabriel to the practice squad, who by all accounts was overdrafted in the first place. And they kept saying, well, Shedeur fell all the way to the 5th round. He could be easier to get to the practice squad. It's like, once he starts playing and shows who he really is.
They're going to forget about that 5th round shit.
Yes.
Using a top 100 pick on Dylan Gabriel, though, is crazy.
That one will be looked back at so badly.
But I think using a top 50 pick on Tyler Shook is even worse.
Agreed.
East Coast Kev says, what would have happened if that DC was black and his son prank called Peyton Manning? And yes, we'll stop playing the race card when you stop doing the race card deal. Thank you, Kev.
Preach, Kev.
Crash out or cash out again. Does adding wide receivers make us believe in the run game while they cut Brandon Hood make it make sense?
Those two things are just not mutually exclusive. So, no, yes.
I guess I'm just not thinking about the run game.
Yeah, exactly.
Thinking about Hykeem Williams.
That's exactly
I don't know. They're not correlated.
Hykeem Williams does have the size and body type to be able to go out and block on the edge, though.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Jr. Carlson says, as of today, Travis's highest selling NFL jersey since
the draft.
Shedeur Sanders is number 3. Browns also mentioned today that they are not picking up Pickett's 5th-year option. That wasn't a Browns decision. Barry was asked about that. That was an Eagles decision last year.
Correct.
Jason
Wait,
Whitlock.
really?
Yes. It's after your 3rd year. The Eagles had him for their 3rd year. They made the call.
So why was that?
What?
Why did that news come out today?
I don't know. The Eagles made the decision.
Yeah, I think today maybe was like the day maybe that the decision had to be made so it became official, but I don't know. The decision was already made, though. You're 100% right.
That's probably why Pickett is on the rosters, because that decision was made.
Also, obviously, no one was ever picking up Kenny Pickett's 5th-year option.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of money.
Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you for the super chat. Crash out or cash out again says Colton was never replaceable. He also says saying you have to get a running back while cutting B-Hood is crazy. B-Hood will be in the NFL. We'll see. Again, Let's put this in perspective. We said we couldn't run the ball while B Hood was ripping huge runs against first string D with the second string O line. Running other teams' run plays. Think about it.
Is this B Hood burner?
Let's
No, it's not.
let the man go. I'm telling you, it's gonna be easier for you if you just let the man go.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly have no inside information on what actually went down. I've heard some rumors that I'm not going to repeat because they're just rumors. They hired Marshall Falk to get this running room right.
Yeah.
I'm going to trust him until I don't have a reason to.
So
Exactly.
am I.
Barry Vale says, I feel like he knew about most of the transfers, but Colton Hood, I think it was possibly a situation the Wade brothers, one would stay and one would go. Maybe. I don't think Coach Prime was necessarily surprised, though. The Locksmith says, how do we not have eyes on Jermaine Bishop, class of 26, as a dog and plays both ways in Texas 6A football? You don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. Who knows? Lloyd Jackson, it's Shedeur and Gabriel for QB2. They are afraid of Prime taking their jobs. Love or hate, Shedeur will...
I think Sale. Probably saying
Sale?
Sale.
I don't know.
I did feel that was a reason for the Shedeur slide. Part of the reason for the Shedeur slide. People thinking that Coach Prime would come in and take jobs or put pressure on them or whatever.
The NFL very clearly sent a message to Shedeur and Coach Prime over the weekend.
And this is an intriguing question from Jamal Powell. I don't want to read it. Super chat from Jamal Powell. He goes, could it be possible that Barry was pissed that he could not drive Shedeur into the 5th round? And the reason that's interesting to me is because I had this thought this weekend. And if I'm really putting on my tinfoil hat and I'm trying to go all the way conspiracy theory here, right?
Like that.
What if that was a mandate from the NFL to come down like, you can draft Shedeur, but you can't do it before the 5th round? And the reason I think that is because he ended up with the Browns. And the Browns had the number 2 overall pick, so ostensibly they had the first chance to draft Shedeur.
And the buzz was other teams were going to draft Shedeur in the 5th round, and the Browns were like, no, we're going to go up and get him.
That was just a thought that
Shit
crossed my
don't
mind
smell
today.
right, bro. Shit does not
That's
smell
just a thought
right.
that crossed my mind this weekend, and that's what I was like. And the Browns ended up with them, and they had the first chance too. It's like,
I wish that I could tell you that that's completely crazy and you're off your rocker, but we literally saw what happened with Colin Kaepernick.
period, bro.
It would not be the first time
They colluded against somebody that they didn't like.
that there was a memo.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Boomer Esiason came out and said yesterday that there were owners that literally took the Shedeur off his draft
There
board.
were owners,
Yeah, multiple.
not personnel decision makers, owners.
Yeah.
Who, for whatever reason, said, nope, not on my team.
Shit stinks, man.
So, it's crazy.
Crash out or cash out again. Johnny Mack made the decision and not... That does... Okay. Thank you for the super chat. Anything else today? Thank you, Dion. Appreciate
stuff,
you,
Dion.
Appreciate you.
Crazy. But I'm glad like I said, I'm at peace with it though. Bro is gonna have an opportunity to be legendary, and I'm excited to see it unfold.
Also, I like move on. It's Monday after the. It's Tuesday after the draft. It's our first show after the draft. We're gonna talk about this today. Soon we'll have some rookie minicamp stuff to react to, which will be fun.
Shedeur already in Cleveland. Saw it today.
You know,
Love
He
to
is.
see that.
But apparently, day 3 picks have to wait an extra 10 days
Yeah, it's crazy.
to get in the building.
Yeah, I know.
no way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not allowed in till the 10th or 12th.
Why?
Something like that. I don't know. It's just protocol.
Only first and second round picks can go in right away.
What kind of?
Stinky.
Bro, I don't think that has anything to do
I'm just saying.
That's a dumbass rule. Is all it is.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I don't know, man. Weird shit happened.
But of course, people are freaking out today of him walking into a Browns themed workout facility.
Yeah.
They're like, he's already bringing his cameras in the building.
It's gonna be something every day, man.
Oh boy, it's exhausting.
That's what I told my friend out in Cleveland. Get ready.
For real.
You're gonna have something to talk about.
Every day.
We'll be back tomorrow. See y'all then. Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.